Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Alex StarCraft here, coming at you guys with another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time a game from none other than the Collegiate Star League. It is going to be from the consolation match, that is the third and fourth place match, or the match that decides those third and fourth place players in the entire United States, or players, I mean the third and fourth place schools in all of the United States. For those of you that don't know, the Collegiate Star League is just a collegiate league for StarCraft 2 teams, more or less. Each school will have a team. They play in what is a best of 7, essentially, including 2v2 matches. And, well, there's some really good players that do play in these collegiate leagues. For example, Czech 6 Suppy is one of them. Spanishiwa, while he is in college, is not in them. But we have some of the best teams in the United States competing here, and it is going to be pretty awesome. We have in the bottom left-hand corner our red Zerg player representing Carnegie Mellon University. It is Broken Axel. And in the top left-hand corner, we have our green Zerg player representing Harvard University. It's Spencer. And this is going to be a ZVZ on Tal'Darim Altar. Now, ZVZ, obviously one of the most high-octane matchups, if not the most, just a bit ahead of PvP, just because of the fact that, well, Zerglings and Banelings and on creep are really, really, really fast, and Mutalisks are really annoying. There's lots of crazy stuff that can happen, and neither player opting go for a hatch first, despite how big the map is. It seems like both are opening with 14 hatch, or I should say 14 gas, followed by a 14 pool. A very standard Zerg versus Zerg opener, and a good standard opener for all matchups if you want to be a bit more aggressive as opposed to economical, or in the case of Zerg versus Zerg, if you just want to be a little bit safer. Why? Because as soon as this pool pops, each player will have 100 gas. They'll be able to get a few Zerglings and Zergling speed right away, and then choose. They can either transition into some Banelings, or they can go ahead and throw themselves down a hatchery, and that will make everything very nice for them in terms of economy. And it's really just going to come down to, well, are both players going to go economy or both go aggression? If there's any aggression involved, which player will come out ahead in economy? Because, of course, these mirror matchups, and particularly Zerg versus Zerg, do rely around, or do center around this economy so much. So both players do have their Zergling speed on the way right now. 4 Zerglings on the way for Spencer. And now Spencer does know where his opponent is, while Broken Axel does not yet quite know, but he can guess from the fact that his Overlord is here that, well, he's either in one of these two positions. He's definitely not going to be cross, so that will be helping him out. Broken Axel opting to throw down expansion, which Spencer is not yet doing because he is going to be going for a Baneling nest, and we're probably going to be seeing some aggression coming out of him soon. And we're going to have to see, is that going to do any damage? Of course, Tal'Darim Altar, there is a bit of a choke right here, but it is pretty big, not super easy to defend. Both players with 4 Zerglings doing some micro, both players pulling back their Zerglings because they know how important this match is. One thing I actually forgot to mention, Broken Axel coming out ahead there. One thing I did forget to mention, this is not only from the consolation matches, this is the last game from the consolation matches. Each team is 3-3 at this point. The winner of this match will be the third place team in the United States for StarCraft 2 in the CSL. And the second place team in this game will be the 4th place team in the nation. Not too shabby either way, but there is a lot on the line here. No doubt these players will be feeling some pressure as we see them start to spread their overlords in such a position so they can see when their opponent leaves their base. For example, now Spencer can see that there's Zerglings on the way, and he can make some Zerglings accordingly, but he does already have Banelings on the way. His expansion not quite up, but he's going to need to be careful if he wants to defend the expansion, and Spencer is also going to need to be careful if he doesn't want to lose all of his Zerglings to some good Baneling hits. He sees the Banelings and he pulls back. He's worried. He does trade 1 for 1 there, 1 for 2. Oh god, 1 for 3, so becoming progressively less cost efficient. And he is trying to pick off one more. He's focusing it down. Oh, he does not quite get it. It lives with just 7 hit points left. And Broken Axel, following this up with 10 more Zerglings, has a Baneling back home. And it seems as if he's worried about a counterattack, which is actually, if he is, that's unfortunate because Spencer is just droning up back home. No second queen yet on the way for either players, which will definitely hurt their larva, though I guess Broken Axel did already make one in his main. Spencer only has 1 right now, but he does have a spine crawler, and that'll help him with the defense, so he has to worry a little bit less about devoting some of those larvae to Zerglings, which will in turn help his drone count. So Spencer is going to be pushing in here with a few Banelings. Broken Axel doing some nice splitting on those Banelings so they cannot be easily killed. Spencer chasing after the Zerglings. He wants the detonation so badly. Is he going to get it? Oh god. That was a potential for big one right there. Zergling and Baneling trading 1-for-1, but Broken Axle has navigated around the Banelings, and Spencer is all of a sudden like, wow, these things are really, really slow. Maybe I should have had something at home, because the Zerglings are going to be running in. There's only 4 Zerglings on the way for Broken Axle to follow this up. But Spencer has 10, so he should be able to defend this. The question is, will the Queen go down, and will drones go down? The Queen is going to be getting focused down, and that is going to fall. And just like that, Spencer doesn't have any Queens. That's going to mean, well, about 8 less larva every 40 seconds, and that is really, really significant. I believe larva inject, how long does it take? It takes 40 seconds, yes. So 8 less larva every 40 seconds. That's going to be a lot. If your opponent has 16 more Zerglings than you every 30 seconds, or 8 more drones, you're going to have a bad time, guys. And Broken Axle does have a nice little bit of creep spread connecting his main and natural, which Spencer currently lacks. And taking a look at the income tab, which I have neglected until this time, it is really important to note Spencer has 28 drones compared to the 21 of Broken Axle. He's been ahead all this time, because he might have even lost a few in that engagement. And so now Broken Axle definitely needs to make something happen. So Spencer definitely not in bad shape because of the number of drones he has. One Baneling, both Banelings getting some pretty good hits, not as big as they could have been, but Spencer making some fine crawlers, and that was the Baneling hit of the game. That Baneling definitely the MVP of the series for the time being. And Spencer's just droning up. He's confident in his ability to hold. And just like that, both players have made the unspoken magical agreement that happens in almost every versus Zerg. They both agree to go for Roach Tech. They're like, okay, I'm exhausted doing this Ling Baneling. It is so stressful. Let's just calm down a little bit. So Broken Axle actually rallying drones to his opponent, looking to be a little bit aggressive with those. So we're going to see what happens. Maybe do some offensive spine crawler action, but Spencer doesn't indeed see them. And he's like, I'm not sure what you're doing with these drones, but I will take them off your hands if you so choose. And Broken Axle does have his lair on the way, significantly ahead of Spencer, who has quite a bit of gas, only just started mining off of these additional 2 extractors. But he could get his lair whenever he wants. He's probably just waiting for some minerals to get it. We're going to have to see what is Broken Axle going to be doing with this. He does have an Evo chamber on the way, and because he got this Roach Warren, as a matter of fact, because both players got this Roach Warren, that means they're probably not going to be going mutas. Oftentimes you'll see players go for mutas and later get roaches, but they will do exactly that. They'll go mutas, then roaches, not roaches, then mutas, just because, well, it doesn't really work out. The mutas, the earlier in the game they are, the more effective they will be, because they can hurt your opponent's economy more, hurt their map presence more, kill more overlords. So neither player are going to be going for mutas in this game. The question will be, when will they get infestors? What will their upgrades be like? And when will their thirds be going down? So Broken Axle does now have his lair up. He's getting roach speed. He's getting +1, getting a second evolution chamber. But he could actually hit with a pretty nice timing between this roach speed and this +1. And Spencer not going to have quite as many upgrades at that point. He doesn't have any on the way as of right now, including the roach speed. His lair about 3/4 of the way done. And he is starting to break down those rocks, which Broken Axle is going to see. The pacifist Zergling is like, I'm not going to attack those roaches. Well, 1, because it'd be suicide, and 2, because I love all of God's creatures. So now there are 3 Zerglings. They are indeed attacking those rocks. Going to take quite a bit longer to kill those rocks than Spencer, but the Overseer is going to see everything that's going on in here. And, well, that's pretty good for him just because he saw the Roach Warren, I would assume. Yeah, he saw the Roach Warren. Did he see Evo Chambers? He has seen the front. So he knows Roach Warren, double Evo Chamber. Well, you're just going to be going Roaches. I don't need to worry about anything. And both players mutually agreeing to get their third. Spencer has an Overlord here, which can't quite see, but will be able to poke in at any time. And Broken Axle with this Overseer can also go scout the third timing if he wants. It looks like that third timing is going to be sometime in the next, well, now probably, because he has the minerals. So we're going to see that go down any second, I'm sure. And Spencer just making more and more roaches, wants to be sure he's secure. And the nice thing about the larva mechanic in as a Zerg player is you can actually just make units while your third is building, and then when your third is done, just all of a sudden make like 16 drones, and then go right back to unit production. So you don't have to worry about really dying quite as much while your third is on the way. Now, if you have your third on the way and are teching up, like an infestation pit on the way for Spencer, then you have a little bit of a risk. It just gives, well, your opponents put more gas and more minerals into their army than you have. So the question is going to be, will Spencer be able to make anything happen? It's 60 supply to 51. Spencer does have the advantage, and so, well, he has the advantage. He should win this fight pretty easily. Broken Axle does have +1, and he does have roach speed, so he will be able to retreat from Spencer, but he's lucky he didn't attack a few seconds later because, well, roach speed would have been done for Spencer. and that would have been really, really bad for Broken Axle. So I have to say, at this time, Spencer with the advantage. He has more drones than his opponent by about 12, which is pretty significant, and he has just about the same amount of army. So that is really going to be good for him here. But Broken Axle does have Creep Spread on his side. And of course, Creep, while it's generally used in matchups, here we go. We do have an attack coming. Spencer is going to be getting right up in the Roach's faces. A few Banelings going up, but of course, Baneling's not the best against Roaches, but Spencer has to be really, really careful not to overcommit. Transfuse going off on one of the Roaches. Very nice from Broken Axle. And as I was trying to say before that battle happened, I just had to drop everything and do some commentary on that. Creep Spread, a lot of people don't think it's the best thing in Zerg versus Zerg, or they don't think of it as much because of the fact that, well, it helps your opponent's speed too, but it gives you vision, and that is the most valuable resource in the game, really. Now, Broken Axle is going to be pushing against Spencer, making a whole bunch of Roaches, but Broken Axle making more back home. Spinecrawlers are on the way for Broken Axle as well. Roaches are going to be trying to defend this, but a few drones do start to go down. This is not enough Roaches to take on these from Broken Axle and Spencer. They do have even upgrades, so that's good for him, but he will have the reinforcement advantage. So the question is, one spine goes down, two spines go down. And Spencer should be fine defending this between the reinforcement advantage. And, ooh, Roaches in the natural expansion as well, though. The Queen about to go down, and oh my god, Broken Axle has Burrow. Don't know when that occurred, but the Spinecrawlers are now in place. Overseer is on the way. He does lose a Queen, which is really going to hurt his larva as the game goes on. He immediately does start another one. These Roaches trying to find a good place to engage. If Broken Axle actually picked off the Evo Chambers, that could be huge, but it also might be a bit of an overcommit if he does do so. Drones being pulled off the line, and now the Roaches burrow. The drones actually managed to get right on top of them, but so many of them are dying. Spencer's supply is plummeting, and Broken Axle has a huge number of reinforcing units. We did go to the army supply, and he has about a 20 supply advantage. Granted, keeping in mind, a lot of that is rallying across the map right now, so Spencer is going to deflect this attack for the time being. The Spinecrawlers over here doing some good damage. And Spencer has held with a superior drone count. Both players have a third, but Broken Axle is mining off his, even if only a little bit. And that is definitely going to be advantageous for him. So he does not yet have Burrow, I don't believe. No, he doesn't. But what does he have? He has some Infestors already on the way, while Broken Axle is just now having his Pathogen Glands reach the point where he can go ahead and make some Infestors, and they will pop with that extra energy. For those of you that did not know that, if you make your Infestors when Pathogen Glands is 30 or 31 seconds complete, 31 to be safe, make your Infestors then, they will pop with the energy. Here we go, and oh, beautiful fungal going down from Spencer, trapping a huge number of those Roaches, forcing Broken Axle to turn around and engage up the ramp with his opponent having a superior concave, and that is never good. And Spencer has the upgrade advantage. He has +2 Carapace as opposed to his opponent's only +1. So now the question is, will either of them add on any Hydras? Will they try and go for Hive Tech? Because both players have almost maxed out on the upgrades they can get just being on Lair Tech. So we have to see where the game is going to go from here. We could see some Zergling counterattacks or even some Nidus play would be pretty cool, seeing as this map is so big. Even just having one here for quicker reinforcing on the behalf of Broken Axle or Spencer doing the same thing. Granted, again, vision from the Creep Spread, so not going to be nearly as effective. Broken Axle is going to go up here. He's probably just going to check this expansion, or I would not be surprised if he did, just to be sure that, well, my opponent doesn't actually have another expansion that I'm not aware of. Broken Axle choosing this time to drone up. Once these drones pop, he will be ahead in drones, but he's been behind the whole game, and I'm not sure if it's going to be quite enough to catch up. Spencer currently has 4 Infestors on the field. His opponent, still none. 2 Infestors on the way now, and Broken Axle is going to be getting attacked by Spencer. His Roaches desperately running. The Infestor saying, must fungal Roaches, but he's not going to be able to catch up, unfortunately. So those do get away, but at the same time, all of Spencer's army's out of position while the Roaches swing in here, but lucky for him, a whole bunch popping alongside those Spinecrawlers right as the Roaches get in. So Spencer is going to be getting attacked from all different angles. The Infestors get a really good fungal, but he needs to make sure to preserve those, and some really, really nice fungals from him. We take a look at these players. APM, both players hovering around 200 APM. They're playing so fast right now. Is Spencer going to fungal on top of this? He doesn't actually have the Overseer there with that part of the army. He has one morphing in right on there on the high ground, though, and he is also going to be chasing back this, and this is looking increasingly grim for Broken Axle and the team of Carnegie Mellon. I'm not sure if he will be able to hold out. All these Roaches are going to be dying in a second, and Broken Axle is probably sitting there highlighting the Roaches like, oh, goodness gracious. So he did get a lot of those out, as a matter of fact, but Spencer doesn't even care. He's going to go for an attack now. There are offensive Infestors leading the charge into it, even though they don't have energy for fungal. And Broken Axle does have a nice defensive position. Is Spencer going to have enough? Is he going to get the concaving knees? A great fungal going down from Broken Axle. Gets a lot of the roaches. Another huge fungal goes down on the right side. A few infested Terran being thrown out from Spencer since he doesn't quite have the energy from fungal. But he has so many more roaches than his opponent. 44-24. Both players making as many roaches as they can and rallying them up here. A few roaches still back here. Going to see if they can do any damage. But it doesn't matter if you do a little economic damage. If Broken Axle is going to just lose the game here. The roaches are tearing into the natural. The infested Terran adding a little bit of extra DPS, and Broken Axle's last roaches do appear to be falling. He's still down by about 20 roaches, making as many as he can, but he has lost his queen. He has lost his infestors, and he doesn't have spine crawlers, and there's the GG from Broken Axle. So that means that Harvard is going to, or did, this is of course taking place quite a while ago, back on June 3rd, so about a month and a half ago. This was some beautiful play out of Spencer in this game, so congratulations to Harvard for winning this for what it's worth. Even though it's a little bit late, there's some beautiful play right there from Spencer. Broken Axle putting up a very good fight, but in the end, the economic advantage for Spencer was simply too great. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Be sure to watch more of my cast and more of the CSL when the next season does start in about a month or two. And have a wonderful afternoon.